What we'd like to do at this stage is to actually look at some of the weapon systems which were likely used and also play out footage of the strikes taking place. Now, there's been a lot of footage which has come in. The footage which we are now showing on our screens is credible footage. You can see some of the explosions which have been taking place. This footage actually changes to other areas. You can see in the distance an explosion taking place. These are all Indian strikes going in, various weapon systems which have been used. The explosions over here, very, very significant. Remember, during 2019, there was no footage which emerged of India's strikes on Balakot. This time around, there is multiple footage which has taken place. Among the weapon systems believed to have been used, the Scalp, which is a long-range air-launched cruise missile. It's got a range of upwards of 200 kilometers. The target in Bahawalpur, chances are, may have been hit by a weapon such as the Scalp, since it lies approximately 150 kilometers west of Rajasthan, Punjab. And that's right, and this is a point that we need to keep mentioning. India has struck targets 100 to 150 kilometers deep inside Pakistan, not just in Jammu and Kashmir, but in the case of Bahawalpur, opposite the Rajasthan-Punjab frontier, as it were. Let's move to some of the other weapon systems which India had likely used. Let's move away from the Scalp, which is capable of low-altitude stealthy flight. It's been used, a variant of that, extensively in the Ukraine war as well. Very successfully, I should add. This is the Hammer, which is a smart bomb. It's got a very sophisticated guidance package. There can be a man in the loop. In other words, there can be an operator to actually fly the missile in shortly there before it strikes its target to take control and hit the target that you want. It hits targets by day and night, any weather conditions. Again, both the Scalp and the Hammer are important because these are weapon systems that ensure that collateral damage is minimized. You want accurate strikes, and all the strikes that went in over there, as we understand it, have been successful and they have been accurate. India also used loitering munitions. This would be the first time, as I understand it, that loitering munitions were used by India in a military strike that went across. These likely have far shorter ranges, approximately 20 to 30 odd kilometers, perhaps a little bit more, may well have been used in the targets across the line of control in the north of Kashmir. These are semi-intelligent systems. They move around an area, they pick a target, either they're guided to the target or they are able to discern the significance of a target based on their onboard processing systems and their own library of targets to pick from, and then they go and they hit a target. These are suicide drones. We've seen variants of this being used also extensively, as I mentioned, in the war in Russia and Ukraine. Now, as a result of all of this, what has taken place is massive Pakistani strikes, indiscriminate, across the international border and the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. India has responded. India has hit targets in Pakistan very, very hard. That's something that's been confirmed. But it has also been confirmed to us that there have been at least 3 civilians who've been killed in Jammu and Kashmir. But let's just reflect on the footage that you see on your screen so far. Is footage of the Indian strikes. Some of the footage is of the Indian strikes going in. These are strikes in Pakistan or in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which of course is India. But these are the strikes which have gone in over there very accurately. Various weapon systems, massive explosions which have been taking place. So that gives you an idea of what's been happening in terms of some of the weapon systems which have been used and video of the explosions over the last several hours.
And Shivadur is continuing to be with us. Shiv, I'm coming to you in terms of the fact that you have been putting out of a joint operation of the 3 services, all working in complete coordination. And, there was regular briefing that they had with the Prime Minister, regular discussion with Air Chief Marshal AP Singh meeting the Prime Minister only 2 days ago. There was that meeting which also was held between the Prime Minister and Defence Secretary. Of course, there was an indication and the Prime Minister himself giving a complete charge to the Defence Forces to decide the operation and how it will be executed. Prime Minister Modi himself has been monitoring it. That's what sources in the Prime Minister's office are telling us. When we talk about the 3 services working in coordination, what does it actually mean? Because that's different from what we saw play out post-Uri and post-Pulwama.
You know, Maria, you track the Prime Minister's office, so you know this better than most people, that, the Prime Minister may have given the armed forces the operational freedom to decide on these targets and go after them in the way that it has panned out today as part of Operation Sindoor. But like you also rightly reported, not only does the Prime Minister monitor every single aspect of it, it's not like he just gave an instruction to the armed forces saying, go ahead and do whatever you want, and you have the freedom to do it. Obviously, the Cabinet Committee on Security, the meetings with the chiefs, with Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh, Admiral D.K. Tripathi of the Navy, the three service chiefs together before that, all meant that these plans were very, very focused, very, very specific, signed off on at the highest levels of the government and the executive. And it was then that the armed forces, got the latitude and the political alignment to pursue the execution of what has now become what we know as Operation Sindoor. Let's be very clear about that. The armed forces offered many different options to the Prime Minister, to the National Security Advisor, the leadership, and after a series of meetings that actually happened. Right now, as we report on this unfolding story, it is quite certain that there are active war rooms in different locations. We will not speculate on who will be in those war rooms, but operational details not reported on NDTV, but in these war rooms, our military commanders, including possibly our chiefs, have a live and real-time view of this unfolding military picture that's taking place in the air, on the ground, and at sea. Another piece of breaking information I'm going to bring in before I put it into our system, Maria, is that extensive damage has been reported on the Pakistan side. My army sources are telling us that extensive damage to Pakistan army posts and infrastructure on the Pakistan side of Rajouri, Poonch, as well as Kupwara. These two sectors, possible casualties, but huge damage confirmed to Pakistan army posts in both these areas. We'll be getting images of that shortly.